What's going on? We are... Hey, there's the music. Checking out Case Solved, the London Files. I got a free key for this one. It is a logic puzzle game that we are playing today, not in incremental. I think the main game is like 2 to 3 hours, and then there's a shitload of classifieds, which I guess we have to unlock. 42. I think there are achievements for solving 40 of them. Yeah. So anyway, that's post content, right? So there are achievements for beating stuff without hints and without making mistakes. Yo, Mats, what's going on, man? How's the circling? Case 1, it looks like we have 3 cases, and there are multiple stages for each case. Fatal Chord. An American musician was found dead in a Soho alley in London. He had just finished performing at a local pub. His body bears signs of strangulation with a thin metal wire, most likely taken from his own instrument. Nothing appears to be missing, suggesting robbery was not the motive. Yeah, I saw that, man. Congrats. That does not sound like English. Not London without the rain and the murders. What have we got here, officer? A musician strangled with an instrument string. How awful. Finding a luthier in London. What's a luthier? Who are the suspects? Pub manager, right in my own establishment. The drummer. You sure he's dead? He's always so dramatic. And a fan. Think it's still okay to ask for an autograph. If there's any good news, it's that the funeral already has an audience guaranteed. On to the investigation. So there are 5 clues, I guess. So we should probably, I guess, talk with people. Cat. I think there's a cat in every level. I guess the cat is a hint, maybe? The goal is to not use hints, but I think there's a cat on every level. There's an achievement for, I think, finding 15 cats. We found a violin. I could play for the suspects, but I don't think torture is permitted. That's one of the clues, I guess. I guess we can just click around. The traffic cone. My deduction, someone got hurt. Fascinating. Is this street light? Oh, street light. Where even the lanterns look depressed. That's 3 of the 5 clues, I guess. That cone looks awfully suspicious. Okay, yeah, we already did that. Count me in as long as you order something. Okay, so that guy himself. Evidence collected. Shall we connect the dots on the deduction board? Not yet. Let's talk to the other 2 people, just in case. Gotcha, so that's... there. Okay, so talking to them told us about those 3, and then talking to him, I guess, got the other 2. So is it just going to him? Like, is that... How do we go now? I guess that's it. Clicking on that. The manager is not suspect 2. Suspect 3 had jealousy. Okay. Suspect 2 is not motivated by money, so it has to be obsession, and therefore money. The suspect who had jealousy is the drummer. The suspect who had obsession is not the manager. Right, well, we already knew that because the manager is not suspect 2. It's the old joke. A greedy manager, an obsessed fan, and a jealous drummer walk into a pub, and one of them walks out a murderer. I could swear I can still hear the violin playing. Have you tried taking your earpiece off? Enough nonsense. We'll chase the truth until someone hits a wrong note. Alright, we finished the level. Stage 2. All three suspects look guilty, so now what? Next step is to build a complete timeline. Alright, wait. Alright, not that far back. Not quite that complete. We need to know who was where and what they were fiddling with. It won't be easy. The truth is like bad tea, my dear, hard to swallow. Okay. She's giving a clue. That's just two. She just gave us 2 clues, just straight up freebies. Could actually play guitar, so more guitar. I see the cat again. Handkerchief on the table. Can we like, oh, that's the handkerchief. It wasn't on the table, it was on the floor. Fatal red lipstick. Only thing more macabre than the name is the work to clean the stain. And one more object is the matches. Is that this or is that this? That's that. I guess that one down there is a billfold. No. No, just click on the 3 matches. On one hand, they cost nothing. On the other, they never light either. Okay. The fan was seen singing. Okay. The drummer was on the stage. Okay. The suspect who was playing had the instrument. The manager was not playing. Makes sense that the drummer is playing. That would fit with the story. And then they would have the instrument in order to play. That all makes sense. The suspect who was talking had the notebook and was not on the dance floor. So the fan was on the dance floor and the manager was at the entrance. All right. The manager says the victim was happy. The fan swears he was crying and the drummer wasn't any help at all. How can someone be crying and laughing at the same time? Easy to see you're not married. In this particular case, someone's lying. I recommend you say suspicious and single. Okay. With each one's story, I can sketch a first timeline, but the suspects' accounts are more tangled than traffic in Mumbai. Aha. For now, we've only got this pile of statements, but statements aren't facts. Wish we had photos of the whole event, full of detail and dramatic angles. Will these do? The paparazzi guy. Long live the tabloid press. Okay. We have 7 clues now. And the cat. There's a stein of beer. Oh, with on the sign. Okay. Double the beer. I know plenty of people who'd kill for that. Sewer grate. Murder is one thing, but tossing evidence down the manhole, that's just rude. The pinnacle of journalism. And the scooter. One more terrible crime, parked in a no parking zone. Okay. Now we have the paparazzi. Is there something that tells us the manager was seen at the entrance? The fan was not in the pub. The paparazzo was in the alley photographing. And then if the fan was not in the pub, then they had to be backstage, and the drummer was in the pub. The suspect who was waiting did not mention clients. The suspect who was in the pub claimed the promoter could confirm they were talking. Okay. The manager was neither talking nor waiting. He was working. Makes sense. Suspect in the alibi had no guest list or clients. Guest list, clients, so he had an editor. Okay. Who's waiting did not mention clients, so they have the guest list. So he has clients. Easy. The stories are more tangled than traffic in Mumbai. Dude, they already said that. Do you confirm the photos are actually useful to us? Got them right here, Detective. The paparazzo was at the alley entrance when the show ended. Excellent. Now if find out which alibis are true, I'll get to update my feed. Confirmed the paparazzo was at the scene. Now we'll be able to tell which alibis really hold up. Stories don't seem to match the photos. Question is, who's lying, the people or the photos? Probably the people. It's moments like this that show me you'll make an excellent detective one day. Let's catch those lies the way a wet child catches a cold. Is this the cat? Nope, cat's over there. Security camera. Okay. Let's hope the footage is in 144p to keep the mystery alive. Mop and bucket. Must have been her tears. Okay, got that. Looks like the criminal isn't the only slippery one around here. Yahahi, right? Is that what she sounds like? All right. Clock. Stopped at 12:17. You know what they say about a stopped clock, right? It needs fixing. And the matches again. Second time we're doing the matches. Deja vu, or did the killer buy out this pub's entire Matchbox 2 stock? Ah, see, the game is saying it also. Okay, so the guest list was not found. Its status is absent. The footage validates the confirmed status of the manager. Okay. The police validated calls to the editor. So calls cannot sustain weak or unstable support. So that has to be strong or reasonable. Whoever had any confirmed status must be supported by strong evidence. So that means we have here his calls thing has to be reasonable. So then that means this, the record can't be reasonable. So calls has to be partial, which means this has to be invalid. Whoever has record is absent. If you have record, then this is witness. And whoever has invalid must have weak. Makes this unstable. Look at that, 4 for 4. The Yard is asking for a report on the case, Detective, and I want the Spice Girls to reunite. We've got so much evidence but it doesn't fit together. It's worse than a Swedish furniture manual. Last time I assembled my wardrobe upside down. What if we look at the evidence from another angle? That's it. The stain, for instance. Isn't it just bin juice mixed with drunk vomit? No, it's a mud trail. The victim was dragged. Which of the suspects could pull that off? That's the point. We've got trouble. Double trouble. Call forensics. I wonder how many stages each case has. Not every alibi survived the confrontation with the photos, and a fresh piece of physical evidence has prompted another forensic request. Forensics confirmed it. The crime had 2 perpetrators. I thought it was a solo, but it was a duet, made up of which members? If I killed every deadbeat in here, I'd be a serial killer by now. Since when is it a crime to follow every step of a person? Name me one band where the musicians don't curse or punch each other now and then. What would I gain by killing him? An exclusive on the first crime scene photos? Come to think of it. Time to find out who orchestrated this deadly symphony. There's our cat. Find 5 cats. Almost there. I can already smell the paperwork. Bus. Crime is punctual. Public transport, not so much. Back to the scooter. The only thing more dangerous than a murderer is that bald tire. One of the greats. That one? Okay. The sewer again, and an unpaid bill this time. Besides being a deadbeat, he's a pig. And the bicycle. A wicker basket, criminally cute. Okay. The fan's declaration is never. Whoever has never is inconsistent. Whoever has a confirmed alibi is innocent. The inconsistent suspect is not the perpetrator. The paparazzo had their alibi validated, so they are considered exempt. Okay. Either the manager is exempt, which they can't be, or they are the witness. So if the paparazzo does not have inconsistent... If the paparazzo is not compromised, then the drummer has to be compromised. Makes them doubtful. The compromised suspect has impossible as their declaration. Whoever has doubtful condition does not have a never or not at all, which means they are negative. And they're not at all. And the inconsistent suspect is not the perpetrator, so they are the accomplice and the perpetrator. Is that it? Did we solve the case? Drummer and the fan, who would have guessed? Jealousy and obsession. Sounds like a title of a bad soap opera. Compared to some of that band's songs, this wasn't even their biggest crime. True, my dear, the music industry really is murder. End of tour for Killer Duo. Alright, well. Pretty easy. 20 minutes. Case closed. 2 out-of-sync hearts that decided to harmonize by committing murder. Tragic. Case 2. Last act. During the final rehearsal before opening night, the lead actress collapsed dead on stage, but signs of tension backstage suggest that the sudden death most likely conceals a crime. She's a fine actress. Crying on stage is easy, but literally dying? Few can manage that. A number of London's haunted theaters, perhaps. Sergeant! Why does my nose itch? Enough platitudes, detective. Have you any idea how much public and private money was poured into this place? No, but I've always wanted to know. How much? A lot, probably, I think. And let's start with the time of death. British tea goes cold quickly. My point is, do your job. The yard expects a culprit before 5 o'clock tea. The stage may shine, Sergeant, but the truth tends to wait in the dressing room. Save the poetry for the report, detective. Now, gather the data, tell me who was where and why. The versions don't align. First, I'll fix the minute, then the culprit. Your first evaluation in this case begins and ends in the final part of the rehearsal, detective. The yard expects precision, not theories. And I expect a cat. Okay, the light. Is that not these? Are these not the lights? Or that? I guess that. If that spotlight flickered at the wrong moment, half the cast gained an alibi. We have 10 hints. The gloves. Pure silk, the favorite fabric of socialites and villains. It's just 5 clues here. Have my clipboard on the stage, my will to live, unknown. Plenty of notes on the lighting and nothing on the crime. Disappointing. Tape dumped on the floor. There's a single fingerprint on this. I'll retire. No one is that amateurish. Amateurish. And the curtains. Oh, is that not it? So, what is our last object? Game? Is there someone, like, hiding behind this? Where did that come from? Row Z, any further back and you'd be at another address entirely. Okay, so apparently you can just get clues that you have to find your own. Alright, well. Okay, the stagehand said the victim was confused and unstable. Either the understudy indicates that the victim was confused or she indicates that the victim was strange. Okay. Whoever said the victim's rehearsal was normal also said her dance was stable. So that's one of those two. Whoever assigned confused assigned tense. The understudy didn't see the victim tired, then she didn't... Oh, she didn't. Okay. So not tired and not pale. Whoever said the victim was tired saw her panting. The musician said the victim was tired, panting. There was something else, right? Neither the director nor the stagehand said the victim was healthy. That's healthy. That's normal. So whoever said the victim was weak also said she was silent. If that was the director, then she would be weak and exhausted. So it has to be the understudy. Which makes here strong and a collapse, which makes this exhausted. Oh, shit. Okay, so everything was normal. Also said her dance was stable. And then if the understudy didn't see them, so then it's not pale. Faint, and then pale. So that should be correct. The stage may shine, Sergeant, but the truth tends to wait in the dressing room. Save the poetry for your report, Detective. What have you found? We have 4 suspects. The director. She was the only one who did things properly. The musician. The more I talk, the more I understand silence. The stagehand. The real crime is what they pay us to work here. And the understudy. I'd imagined her out of the play hundreds of times. Dead, never. Each one says something different about how the victim seemed, but one thing is certain, she waited for the grand finale to die. Nothing like British manners, is there? The play's last act was also the actress's last act, but the statements still conceal a great many contradictions. The stage shows the trick. The backstage explains the hand. Forget the stage. The opportunity was backstage. Map everyone's path. Who approached that water and when? If the collapse was in the last act, the cause went up on stage with her. Cat. Get the cat first. Only 3 objects here. There's a comedy mask here. No, that was a different mask. I guess this is the comedy mask. She smiles because she doesn't have to listen to the lying testimonies I hear. And then we also have a frowning mask. Is that third one? No, apparently not. Top hat. That. Top hat. I hope there's a rabbit in there. It would be the most logical thing I've seen today. Oh, that's everything. Sure. Okay. The understudy suffered from anxiety. He was doing supervision. Okay, so the director was doing supervision while the stagehand was doing preparation. The director didn't have the score, and whoever had the score was in observation. So wait. So the director is not in observation. Oh, wait, that's the understudy. Okay. Neither the one doing the turning nor the one doing the preparation was checking the script. Whoever was doing preparation either had nervousness or was doing the adjustment. Whoever had anxiety was in waiting. Okay. Neither the one doing turning nor the one doing preparation was checking the script. So that means the director had to have been doing the script. So the one in silence, so it can't be that, right? Because script is supervision. So it has to be costume is preparation. If someone was in waiting and with anxiety, they also showed nervousness. Okay. So again, so we know it's either observation or mirror for the understudy here. Preparation is not nervousness, so they were doing adjustment. And whoever was doing adjustment cannot have score nor be in command. So they are tool. Interesting that didn't light up. The director didn't have score. And whoever had score was in observation. And so then we knew that the understudy was either observation or mirror. So that has to be, the understation has to be mirror. And therefore that is discipline. For her to die like that, there are only two possibilities: poison or a remarkably acid theater review. I don't know why that was so weird to read. And there were no critics about. Poisoned. Even for murder, they won't give up the drama. The question that remains: who and when and where and how and why? Focus detective, what's the next step? The poison didn't buy its own ticket. We need to know who was moving about backstage. So the water was poisoned. I guess each case is 5 stages. That would make sense. The stagehand's routine is our fixed point, but these footprints and this briefcase, they aren't his. These marks aren't his, and the East Quarter was restricted. Who else had access? Unrestricted access. That points to a master key. And who owned it? The producer, and he was seen in a tense conversation with the victim shortly before the last act. We are now up to 12 clues. A rose. Where is there a rose? That is not a rose. Dirty lenses. That would explain why nobody saw a thing during the rehearsal. Oh, there's the rose. Found the rose. Leaving a flower at the crime scene is so original. Cane. Oh, there's the cane. 1, 2, testing. Could the culprit come to the stage and confess? There's the cane. Hollow inside, like most of the alibis I've heard in the last hour. Is that it? No, we have the stagehands stuff already. That's all, like, locked in. We didn't have to do that. Interesting. The musician went to the balcony to help with the bulbs. The suspect 5 neither spied nor observed, which means they either chatted or rested. Director did not smoke. And whoever left the briefcase went to the balcony to arrange the benches and observed in the wings. So briefcase, benches, and observed are all together. Understudy didn't leave the briefcase or the footprints. Was there something else about the understudy? Oh no, it was a suspect 5. Suspect 5 was seen. The understudy was in the warehouse during the costume. That leaves these two, right? Oh, so the director didn't go for a smoke. So the director had to do the check, which means the musician did the smoke. And the marks were either the director or the musician then. Got both of those. But the marks were not the director, right? So if the marks had to be the director or the musician, and we know that it wasn't the director, then the marks has to be the musician. And then we know that the marks were also rested. So that still doesn't help. Like if we can get any of these, we can get the rest of them. So the understudy didn't leave briefcase or footprints. That means they left the script. Which means the briefcase, benches, and observed had to be either director or 5. We know the footprints were either directors or suspect 5. We already know that. We know suspect 5 neither spied nor observed. So they chatted. And then they left footprints, which means this is briefcase. And then with briefcase, that means benches and observed, which means this is spied. So we have one clue left here. Suspect 5 neither spied or observed in the wings and left no step traces. So they are not no steps, so they are curtains. Oh, shit. I thought... Because it's no step, I misunderstood, right? I thought I was reading that as no. I was reading that as a negative. Instead of saying suspect 5 is no step. That's really frustrating. So, hold on. I want to make a note. That I made a mistake. on that. This troop slips about backstage so much MI6 could take lessons, not to mention the greatest tactic of warfare, interactive theater. Did you find anything useful? A briefcase and a footprint in a restricted area. The only thing better would be a note saying it was me. Before you start interrogating ghosts, does any of the suspects has a master key? And, oh well, can't read the rest of it. Had to make a note. A fifth suspect has been identified, the producer, seen in restricted areas talking to the victim before the last act. When the stage shines, the contracts cast shadows, Sergeant. Follow the money, detective. Whose life improves with her death? And who crumbles if a secret comes to light? Money and secrets is the combination that signs most reports. Continue. I'm really annoyed about that. I mean, it's my fault. Like, I guess, you know, I misread what that was. Lamp. This fan, yeah, I was like, you knew the fan was going to be one. Careful, it might contain whispered secrets or just a bit of mold. Paint roller. Oh, that's a bucket full of nothing useful. So that was paint, not the paint roller. So that's the roller. Paint roller was the killer redecorating between screams. Already got the paint. Only her favorites got past the partition. The divider, splitting empty space from more empty space. Excellent work indeed. Now we got 5 by 4. We have 20 things to figure out. Getting more complicated, eh? So, okay, so the insurance policy is director or producer. The nephew will receive inheritance. And whoever is envy was props. Okay, so we know inheritance can't be the director. Who's doing blackmail. Whoever was adjusting the light does not have an insurance policy. The rival will take over the stardom. Okay, musician was the instrument. Lover was checking script. The nephew has no secret. Either the musician was the lover or the stagehand was the colleague. Okay, the director or the producer was the agent, and the understudy was the rival. So did that give anything more? The rival will take over stardom. Okay. Either the stagehand is ill or the understudy has none. Okay. So the insurance has an affair. Neither the stagehand nor the musician has the payoff with the victim. So the payoff is either the director or the producer. And the insurance is either the director or the producer. So that means inheritance and none has to be stagehand and musician. Wait, But the insurance policy also has an affair. So if the director was the insurance policy, he couldn't have the affair. So the insurance policy and the affair has to be here. Okay. And since we know that the insurance was 1, then the payoff is there. Is there anything else about the payoff? Whoever was adjusting the light does not have an insurance policy. Okay, so the nephew has to be one of these two, and they'll get the inheritance. And then whoever is envy is checking props. So the nephew has no secret and will be getting the inheritance. It's very frustrating. Okay, so the nephew, so we know that the nephew has to be one of these two. And the nephew has none. So on this, if the understudy is none, the understudy can't be none. It doesn't fit. None has to be one of these two, which means the stagehand is ill. Because the stagehand is ill, that means the musician is the nephew. So that makes the director the lover, because the stagehand is the colleague. The lover was checking the script. And the nephew will receive the inheritance. And whoever has envy is doing props, and whoever's doing the light, so whoever's insurance is not the lights, they are the bills, which means that is the lights. Oh boy, okay, this is getting complicated. Which of them stands to gain from the actress's death? Unfortunately, all of them, perhaps even you and I, Sergeant. So all of this was for nothing then. Hunger isn't enough, one needs the will to eat, and the knife and fork in hand. I need more conclusions and fewer riddles, Detective. They're a theater company, aren't they? Then it's time to restage the crime. The solution lies at the intersection of who profited from the victim's death and who had a secret she was about to expose. All right, I think this is the final stage. Final reenactment, tainted water, restricted access, 5-minute window. And the only one with the key, recorded presence, and a financial secret that would die with her. The producer, the hand that entered the dressing room before the last act. The accusation holds. Close the case, detective. Closed. The policy was worth more than the last act. Your method, it worked. Now the report. What? So is that it? Do we not need to do the case then? Are we just arresting the producer? The zebra. Black and white stripes, like the uniform the culprit will wear in prison, I hope. Teapot. The first useful thing in this investigation. Hot tea. Blind spot in the mirror. Ah, the culprit. Oh no, it's just me, looking impeccable as always. Now the sad mask. Perfect facial expression for someone who just found out the tea is gone. And a hat. Where is that hat? No, stop. Stop moving. I did not click on him. Alright, where is the hat? Give me more information. Here. Oh, there it is. So I don't know how I missed that. A fedora. If it weren't brown, I'd wear it. Oh boy, now it's 5 by 5? Okay, I see at the bottom. So stagehand has an exempt role in the crime and a confirmed alibi. Neither the musician nor the understudy had the contradictory alibi. So that's contradictory is director or producer. I'm gonna start writing this down. It's like getting confusing. Either the producer has the missing alibi or the musician has the missing alibi. Okay, so the understudy is opportunistic and the musician is improvised. The one with the missing alibi doesn't have access, then they have full. Neither the understudy had the partial alibi, nor the stagehand has the occasional. I need the ability to cross things out from people. Okay, so if the stagehand has premeditated or indirect, neither of those have been figured out yet. Whoever had the technical method had a none roll. Whoever had the improvised method, witness. Okay. Trying to figure all this stuff out. So the technical M equals none R. And whoever had the... Okay, so this is more on the contradictory, which we had a previous clue about. So whoever has denied had improvised or occasional. So that doesn't tell us anything yet. I would love to be able to figure that out with who has the contradictory, right? If it's the director or the producer. Um, and neither director or producer has partial or innocent. Okay, wait. So if director and producer are not innocent, then understudy has to be innocent. So do we have anything about the none role or... Yeah, so none is technical. So this is either none technical or this is none technical. The one with the missing alibi doesn't have access and they have full. So we have nothing for the green stuff is part of the problem. So we know the musician is... Oh, no, it doesn't work backwards like that. So if they're it could be, or it could be whoever has occasional could have been denied also. Okay, and so neither of them has partial either. So that means the understudy or the musician is partial. I feel like the oranges are kind of what we need to figure out. So producer or director is contradictory. And then understudy slash musician has to be partial. And then we also have... And then we also have either musician or producer is missing. So there's still one more. What's the fourth? Right? We have contradictory, partial, missing, confirmed, and denied. Okay, let's play the game of what if the musician had denied. So if the musician has denied because they are improved, right? So if is denied, then the producer has to be missing the understudy is partial, and the director is contradictory. So that would fill everything in if it's denied. If it's occasional, if denied is occasional, and it can't be, we will. Wait. We can figure this out straight from this. Neither the understudy has the partial. So we already know from something else that it's either the understudy or the musician that has the partial. That was one of my other notes based on this. So that means the musician has to be partial. So the musician is not denied. Denied is opportunity. So this is wrong. But because of this, the understudy does not have partial. So that means the musician has to be partial. And because the musician is partial, the musician can't be missing, so the producer has to be missing. And because the producer is missing, the producer can't be contradictory. So the developer, the director has to be contradictory. And that makes the understudy denied. And whoever has the denied ability had improved, which does not, or occasional. So we have occasional. Shit is coming together, y'all. Okay. So now, so we know that neither of them had partial. We got that. Neither of them had innocent. We've got that. But one of them is premeditated. So if we have director, producer, is premeditated. So we know, either the director or the producer had premeditated. If the stagehand has premeditated, which he can't have, if the stagehand has the indirect method, then they have restricted. However, this doesn't say that if they don't have premeditated, then they have it. They theoretically could have technical, in which case neither of those would be true. If the one with the missing alibi doesn't have access, then they have full. So producer is either access or full. Or opportunity. But wait, and the producer as premeditated does not. So whoever has access does not. So that's probably going to determine if it's the producer or not. Like those are all going to go in together. If whoever has the contradictory alibi does not have occasional opportunity, then they have access. So the director has occasional or access. And whoever has the technical method had a none roll, and whoever has the improvised method is a witness. So we know we already have that technical is none, but we still don't know who is technical. It's like this is the one that has me giving pause, right? Because it's saying if they have it, then it's this, and if they have this, then it's that. But it doesn't say that if they don't have premeditated, then they have to have indirect. They could still have technical. Wait, they can't. They can't have technical because they already have the exempt roll. And they can't be premeditated, so they have to be indirect. Which means they have to be restricted. Okay. So if technical is none, then premeditated is author. Doesn't really matter much. So it's all going to come down to the opportunity line, right? And so our opportunities are easy, full, and access. So this is telling us the director is either occasional or access, right? And the other one is easy. Wait, what? Wait. Occasional is already taken. Ah, mother. I'm an idiot. So that he has to have access. I am an idiot. Whoever had access does not have premeditated. So that's premeditated. That's technical. And whoever had technical method had a none roll. That's author. So if the one with missing doesn't have access, then they have full. And this is easy. Wow. Splendid. We've narrowed the list of suspects from everyone down to everyone. But only one of them had motive to spare and a master key that created the perfect opportunity. The producer. Poison in one hand, the life insurance policy in the other. It wasn't a crime. It was just a difficult financial decision. I hate to admit it, detective, but your method worked. Best we close the case quickly before someone decides to turn it into a musical. Producer's final act will be in prison. That was a bunch. Solve the second case. Finish 10 levels without making mistakes in the table. Finish 10 levels without using hints. That's interesting because I thought I did make a mistake in the table on stage 3, but apparently that didn't count. Case closed. The producer. He silenced the victim to protect insurance fraud and a personal secret. The motive was backstage, not on stage. So before we go there, I'm looking at achievements. So there's an achievement in here that says 999. Difficulty. Try code next fest. Does it have to be capital letters? Yes, it did. I don't know. Let's just... I don't know. Do we want to give this a go? Three difficulty? I don't know what the difficulty is out of. All right, let's try it. The Thread Needle Vault. Fine rain over Thread Needle Street. The main vault standing open at 6 in the morning. 3 deeds gone. No sign of force. 4 sets of keys. Okay. Like, what was the difficulty on that final level of case 2? Game? This soft lock? I believe we just got locked. I believe the game just locked on us. Okay. Let's try that again. It also didn't save. Oh, it worked this time. Okay, I don't know why it worked this time, but didn't work the previous time. Okay, we have 4 people. We have 4 things. So Marsh was at the reception. Okay. Ashcroft was working at 11. Whoever carried the key consulted the check. Bancroft did not carry the key. Whoever carried the magnifier was at the archive. Selwyn arrived before Bancroft. Okay. So we have 9, 10, 11, and 12. Selwyn consulted policy. Ashcroft did not consult the will. Ashcroft was at the vault. Whoever carried the briefcase was at the vault. Bancroft was not working at 12. Selwyn arrived before Bancroft, and if Bancroft was not at 12, then Bancroft had to be at 10. Selwyn at 9, and Marsh at 12. If Bancroft consulted the will, then Bancroft carried the magnifier. Okay. So Ashcroft did not do the will, which means the deed or the check. And Ashcroft cannot be the check because they have to be the key. They have to be the deed. And Bancroft cannot be the key, which can't be the check. So this has to be check and key. Makes this the will. Whoever carried the magnifier was at the archive. Well, that's still either or. If Bancroft consulted the will, which he did, then Bancroft carried the magnifier. And then the magnifier was at the archive. Hey. Easy enough. Complete one secret file. Okay. So we have to do the third case, 15 cats. So the achievement, there's 3 more achievements related to secret files. We have to do 10, 25, and 40 out of the 42. There's also complete the third case, find 15 cats, and Master of Deduction. The queen owes you a cup of tea and a slightly used crown. So I don't know if that is for completing all 3 cases with no hints and no mistakes, or if that's for doing all 42 secret files. It has a higher completion rate than completing 40 secret files. So I'm unclear. Either way, let's do case number 3. Code 404. But it's not saving the codes, so it's not very helpful. It's another 3 difficulty. Okay, like, is there... I don't love the gibberish. Let's turn that off. One of the surnames hides a code. So one of these surnames... Oh, it went back. Oh. Just looking for codes, you know? Okay. Case 3. At Big Ben, the master clockmaker was found unconscious on the very night every clock stopped at once. What lies behind the mystery? Human error, conspiracy, something supernatural. It will fall to Scotland Yard to find the answer. I'm assuming that there are 5 again. It doesn't seem to want to let me scroll to the other ones. In all my years as a detective, I've seen every kind of victim, but time, that's a first. Spare me the poetry, detective. The tower clock stopped, that's all. Yet they called in Scotland Yard, not a repairman. What did the cameras catch? Nothing. They froze at the very same moment. 12:17. Is that the same time that was used in the previous case? AI grows more human by the day. Now even the machines have gone on strike. Far too early for your nonsense detective, human error, sabotage, or something more sinister. Ooh, sinister is always good, but first I need to know what each of them saw when Big Ben stopped. Sergeant, the summary. The technician swears the logs were deleted. The guard insists she saw time move backwards. A national symbol has stopped, detective. The yard wants answers, not riddles. The pressure is maximum. Pressure helps to focus. Officer, it's good to see you again. The officer was the first to arrive. The injured clockmaker is her uncle. She has a place on this team. He's stable, detective, but he wasn't just attacked. My uncle would say the clock was desecrated. Time stopped at 12:17. That's not an error, it's a message. A message. Good point, officer. Weren't you off today? Time off ended the minute my uncle was attacked. My place is here until we find out who did this. Welcome back to duty, then. Stay in the control room. I trust your instinct. Where is the cat? I'm getting tired of reading already. Flashlight. That looks like the spotlight from the previous case. Toolbox. Why do I feel like this mop is going to be the last clue to find? Called it. The officer provided distress and does not have sabotage. Whoever provided distress doesn't think the cameras were obstructed. So not sabotage, not obstructed. The guard did not record, not time, and not struck. Whoever saw the inverted hands does not have sabotage theory and thinks the cameras were broken. So it could be the guard. Whoever has criminal theory recorded the time, and whoever struck in the clocks did not find the clockmaker fallen. The apprentice did not trigger the emergency and noticed the latch. The guard heard a scream. So then this has to be emergency, and this is fallen. Whoever found the clockmaker fallen has a theory of mechanical failure. Guard heard a scream, and the technician noticed the glitches. Either the guard has the sabotage theory, or the officer has the criminal theory. Okay, so the guard did not do time or struck, so it has to be hands. And broken. But not sabotage. And the officer is also not sabotage, so technician has to be sabotage. Whoever provided so does not think it was obstructed, so this has to be obstructed. This is disabled. Whoever saw the hands does not have sabotage, right? And thinks the cameras were broken. So we already have this. This should be... So whoever has criminal theory recorded the time. It was hackers, or worse, an automatic update. The technician swears the logs were wiped. The guard, meanwhile, says time ran backwards, like a moonwalk, you know. The apprentice dreads a telling off from the boss, and there goes my dream of retiring. And the officer, wait, I know this one. I dropped my day off and came running. The clockmaker is my uncle. Everything's better as a family affair, even crime. And how is he? Stable detective, but one thing's been nagging me. 1217, it's not an error, it's a message. True, you know who'd make a fine witness? Time, but he seldom testifies. The yard wants answers, not riddles. It was a national landmark at a standstill. To work, detective. The lost minute remains at the center of everything. The guard insists time went back. Nothing here smells like a miracle. Okay. The bell. There's a lot of bells here. An oil can. Oh, there. Crowbar. Over here. So we can have the wrench and the fire extinguisher. Yeah, the wrench. And the fire extinguisher. Well, called that. Okay, still a 4x4. The apprentice neither gave the alert nor assisted. Whoever has the reports noticed that the logs... There's a lot of stuff about the reports. Look at this. 4 different things about the reports. So the officer is not rewind or reports. So the camera shows the guard leaving the tower and the officer arriving at the footage. So is there anything about tower or footage? No, a bunch of stuff about logs. So oh, either panel or rewind is logs. And whoever has the reports notice the... So it can't be rewind and logs because it's already reports and logs. So it has to be panel, logs, and reports. Because that's panel and logs and reports and logs. So logs is C and panel is the action. So and the technician, right? It says it right here. Technician checked the panel. And his location was the control room. So then, and we already know that then it has to be panel and logs. And then reports. So like these are all circular. Panel and reports, reports and logs, panel and logs. They're all circular. So if the officer was not in the tower and was not in the restroom, they had to be in the cruiser. And if the apprentice neither gave the alert nor assisted, then they had to be tools. And whoever searched for tools heard a strange noise. And whoever gave the alert does not have the reports. Right. And the officer did not see the clock rewind and does not have the reports. They have to be seen. And that's rewind. And whoever was seen leaving the tower or arriving at the footage could not be in the restroom. So this has to be restroom. This is tower. Makes sense. Tower and tower. Neither whomever was in the tower nor the restroom assisted the victim. So this is assisted and this is alert. 3 to go. Clocks stopped, cameras blind, systems silent. I know what you're thinking. It's not supernatural. Yes, the ghosts told me only moments ago, and they never lie. It was sabotage, of course. And did they happen to mention who was responsible? Don't ask me daft questions. Ever seen a ghost turn informer? By our reckoning, the system was accessed remotely. It can only have been the technician or someone who used his identity. Perhaps we did have a ghost after all in the machine. Detective, my uncle's awake. A witness at last. Had nearly learned to meow well enough to question the cat. Is that is not how I spell meow. There should be an E in there. Detective, the paramedics alerted us. The clockmaker woke up. Okay. Where is the cat, first of all? Is that the cat? Room. Why do I think the tape measure? Yeah. And that'll be the last one. Yep. Like the items kind of stand out a little bit. Oh, so the clockmaker is now part of this. The clockmaker noticed that all clocks were stopped at 17. The officer was off. Does that mean that that service is the correct thing? I think it's not. I think probably the guard was service, if we're going with stuff. Was visiting her uncle before the incident. Okay, so yes, it's not service. The apprentice was making repairs. Technician checked the cameras after. The guard correctly followed the protocol after the incident. So protocol. apparently. The apprentice was doing adjustments, and the guard was not doing sensors or overhaul. So they were doing patrol. Makes sense. If whoever was doing the patrol followed the protocol, which is true, then whoever checked the cameras did the checking. Okay. Okay. Either whoever did the checking checked the sensors, or whoever did the checking did the adjustments. Well, they didn't do the adjustments, so they had to have done the sensors. And that makes that overhaul. Whoever did the overhaul neither did the register nor was out of service. So if they weren't register and they weren't service, they were doing analysis. And whoever called for help thinks it was supernatural. So help equals super natty. Whoever was doing analysis did not use tools, nor did they call for help. Well, we know they didn't call for help. That one we could already have told. And whoever isolated the area did not do analysis or register. The suspect who did the register used tools, and the suspect who called for help was not visiting her uncle. Regarding the clocks, either the technician thinks it was supernatural and the guard didn't understand, or the technician didn't understand and the officer didn't notice. Okay. So we know help is not either of these two. So apprentice that, but it can't be the apprentice because the apprentice thinks it's repairs. And we know that help thinks it's supernatural. And since these two can't be help and this can't be help, this has to be help and supernatural. Ouch. Those are all done. Whoever was doing analysis did not use tools nor call help. So we didn't use tools or isolated, right? Because isolated did not do analysis either. So he had to use his hands. Whoever did isolated did not do analysis or register. Right. So isolated and register. Which makes sense. So then it's, tools is wait. The suspect who did the register used tools. Isolated did not do analysis or register. Oh, isolated did not do register. So they did service. Isolated did service. And tools did register. And the suspect who called for help was not visiting her husband. Right. The suspect register is tools. Okay. And regarding the clocks, either the technician thinks it was supernatural, and the guard, well, we know it's not that because the technician doesn't. The guard thinks it was that. Or the technician didn't understand, and the officer didn't notice. So all we have left are these two things. But there was something else where we were talking about the officer. The officer was off service. So that's the thing. I don't understand this stupid, because this is like British talking, right? Like, if they were off service, does that mean that the correct answer is service, or the correct answer is not service? Like, that's, I don't understand, because I don't get the wording. Like, to me, it's ambiguous what that means, because if like the British wording for it is weird to an American. That's what I'm thinking is happening here. I think this means that the officer was doing service. Because I don't think the officer would be on the register anyway. But that is just terrible wording. You can't say that they were off service to mean a positive, because off is a negative word. Goddamn British, man. I gotta interpret British English. Ridiculous. God, that is a terribly British way to describe something. And it makes no sense in American English. It is incredibly confusing to try to make high sense of that in a logical deduction game. So I want to say, I saw in the Steam discussions that there is something weird and in terms of the logic on this specific stage. Just for the record, I am already aware that something is weird. I will mention it when we specifically get to it, because I think I know what it is. But I want to mention it, and because I was agreeing with it without knowing the game yet. Oh, okay. Randomly clicking pays off. So we have 2 more items still. Is that? Oh, that's one. Okay. I don't know what the last item is going to be. Oh, cool. Yeah, randomly clicking. It's all we need to do. So this right here makes no sense, because whoever perceived the cables used the panel. It's not possible. It is literally impossible to both perceive the cables and use the panels, because they are both the same line. So I just want to point out that someone provided a solution because that doesn't make sense logically. So I'm going to work through what I can. And when we get to the point where we are left with this mess, I am going to look at the solution because I know, because you can clearly see that this does not make sense. Right? Obviously, whoever noticed the gear could not perceive the cables. They are both green. They are mutually exclusive. And whoever perceived the cables cannot have used the panel. This is all mutually exclusive. So something is just straight up wrong here. Anyway. The apprentice saw the shaft vibrate, and the guard did not see sparks. The clockmaker saw neither the clock nor the sparks. So technician or officer has to be the sparks. And if the clockmaker saw neither the clock hand or the sparks, then he has to be movement or reflection. The clockmaker believes in sabotage. Either he saw the clock hand, which we know he can't do because he did not see the clock hand here, or he noticed the counterweight. The officer saw a reflection, which means the technician has to be the sparks. The officer saw a reflection and noted the locks. What? Oh, shit. Yeah, the officer saw a reflection. I just put that in the wrong part. The guard believes in short circuit and reported fear. That was a good clue. If whoever believes in short circuit saw the clock hand, then they noted the cables. If they saw sparks, then they noted the gear. Well, they couldn't have noted sparks, but we don't know for sure that they saw the clock hand because, we know the clockmaker is either movement or reflection. So this has to be movement. So this has to be clock hand. And so if whoever believes in short circuit saw the clock hand, then they noted the cables. Okay. Whoever saw the reflection vibrate believes in jamming or failure. If someone believes in jamming in the counterweight, which is they don't, if not, the apprentice reported doubt. If whoever reported doubt believes in jamming, then the clockmaker so we have the gear and the panels remaining, right? And the only clue we have about the gears or the panels are here. So I don't understand how this makes sense. If this does make some sort of logical sense to people, I would love to understand it. Okay, so whoever saw the reflection vibrate believes in jamming or failure. So if she believes in jamming, then the officer reported contradiction. So this would be jamming and contradiction. I feel like we don't have enough clues here. Like, we've done everything for clues. We've done everything that we can know from clues here, but it feels like we don't have enough clues. If this is failure, because if this is jamming, then we don't have a way of knowing which one is which between these two. If we do say that this is jamming, then this has to be failure, and this has to be the other one. That would give the clockmaker confusion. And this would not be contradiction, this would be that. This would be contradiction, right? Because these can't both be true. I think this has to be jamming. Just because otherwise we're left in a situation where we don't have an answer. This is jamming, then the clockmaker reported confusion. This has to be contradiction. This is haste, and then we're left with this where we don't have a solution. So that's where I'm going to cheat, because I don't know what. This says that this is gear and this is panels. I don't know why. It just says that that's true. That was the only hint and only information that people gave in the Steam forums talking about this. So that was it. They said it was gear, then cables, then panel. I don't know. That doesn't quite feel right to me. Explain it like I was 5. Anyway, so... The force shaft, the fixed time, the deleted cameras, everything converges to the same point. The apprentice, he tried to correct his own mistake and ended up locking time for good. He set the clocks to 12:17 as if he could pretend that time didn't move on, and attacked my uncle to erase what he did. Fear made him try to stop time. Perfect irony for someone who lived surrounded by gears. The report closes the case, and I'll be retiring soon. This opens a door at the yard for a sergeant. They said your name would fit well. The title is heavy sergeant, but no more than the responsibility it carries. Fair enough, since the first case, you've never looked for culprits, you looked for meaning. And I found it. Time doesn't go back, but it teaches us to listen, and we learned. Now let's listen to the ticking in a different way. Oh, I thought that was the cat. This is the cat. Okay. Find 15 cats. We did it. Is this? Yep, that was an item. All right. All right. Full 5x5. The clocks were not observed by the technician, and nothing was corrected or observed by the officer. Either the technician forced the shaft or the officer isolated the area. The apprentice forced the shaft if the technician corrected the system, but if the technician protected the system, then the apprentice triggered the lock. These are like all circular logic stuff here. The apprentice adjusted the parts. Okay. His motive was not trust, and the guard sounded the alarm. So the officer was not corrected or observed. So they were protected, and then the technician was not observed. So they were corrected, which makes the clockmaker observed. The technician corrected, so the apprentice forced the shaft. Okay. So either the technician forced the shaft, which he didn't, or the officer isolated the area. If the apprentice did not trigger the lock, then the guard triggered the lock. And the apprentice feels fear. The apprentice adjusted the parts, and his motive was not trust. Right, it's fear, and the guard sent him. Okay. If the components were not isolated by the technician, which is correct, then there can only have been an unexpected failure, or it was he who triggered the lock. So it has to be failure. Whoever was involved was the victim, but neither prevented nor lost access. Okay. If the items were not protected by the victim, then he passed out. Either whoever forced the shaft misaligned the mechanism using the tool, or whoever corrected the failure triggered the lock, which is not correct. So they misaligned the tool. If whoever corrected also suffered failure, then they have neither the key nor the door. They have the lock. Okay. Either the officer has the door or the lock, or the guard has the log. Well, we know the guard does not have the log. The officer has the door. The guard has the key. Whoever has the key followed the protocol and neither lost nor prevented. They did energy. If someone interrupted the energy and followed the protocol, then whoever suffered an unexpected failure has responsibility and access was not prevented. Okay, this wound up being more straightforward than I thought it was going to. Whoever lost access has responsibility, and whoever prevented access has neither fear nor trust. So they have duty, they have trust, and we've beaten the game. And then he attacked my uncle to cover up the mess, all out of dread of a telling off. Your uncle must be a hard taskmaster, eh? The apprentice. He tried to fix his own blunder, ended up murdering Lunder's main spring. The shaft forced, the hour fixed, the camera dark, someone who knows the tower, but with all of the delicacy of a bull in a china shop. GG. Now we just have to figure out all of the secret cases, which I will not do on stream. Since the very first case, you've never hunted for the guilty, you've hunted for the truth. Me, a pen pusher. That uniform would rob me of all irresistible charm, but I thank you for the insult. Case closed. I hate to admit it, but you'd make a fine sergeant detective. Did I read that out of order? The truth is, time flies, and I'm famished, and according to Big Ben, it's already time for 5 o'clock tea. Apprentice arrested for killing time. Solve the third case. Now what? That's it. I think that's it. So what are we missing achievement-wise? We are missing 4 achievements. They are for 10, 25, and 40 secret files solved. And then there is the mysterious hidden achievement that is Master of Deduction. The Queen owes you a cup of tea and a slightly used crown, which my guess is probably for doing all 42 secret files. That is my guess, but I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. Check out Case Solved, the Lungen files. If you like logical deduction, you know, I think all but one little tiny piece, which I'm guessing they'll fix in the first patch, because multiple people have reported it as being a problem. And then, yeah, everything made sense. I actually thought the end of Case 2 was harder than the end of Case 3, given all that stuff. Like, we breezed through the end of Case 3. So, yeah, thank you all for hanging out. Have a good one. Bye.